Hello everyone, once again very good morning. This is Umesh and in this video I'm explaining you the rest part of the chapter 6 grade 8. So the children must be careful, watch this video till end, because in this video I'm going to share you some more ideas about the burning of a substance. Okay, so as the last lecture we study about how water caught fire easily because of the presence of oxygen. Water firstly support the fire. Okay, so remember, therefore most of the people during the time of the burning, if unfortunately a person is burned, so people don't throw water the body. Why? Because they will know water make severe attack, so they use such kind of covering like a blanket, or sometimes they put the sand. How to cut the supply of oxygen? If oxygen supply cut, so automatically flame doesn't support. Now, does the matchstick burn by itself? How does it burn? When we use matchsticks, we know that matchsticks, firstly, when you rub it with the matchbox, then it burn. It means that there is a way, there is a medium by which we can produce fire. You must have an experience of burning a piece of paper. Does it burn when a burning matchstick is brought to near it? Can you burn a piece of wood to bringing a lighted matchsticks near it? Why do you have to use paper or kerosene oil to start fire in the wood or coal? Let's say children, one the very important reason is that air is a insulator. It means that air doesn't support you know directly fire. Oxygen support fire. There is a two different way. Air is needed because air contain oxygen, but it means not that if you have a matchsticks on air and you just round and round it and it burn automatically. It never happen, because air solely is not a supporter of fire. Similarly, if you take a matchsticks or a piece of burning paper with the wooden, it cannot burn easily. Why? Because we need some other substance that support fire. It means that some substance cannot burn easily and some substance burn immediately, like LPG, petroleum. So there is a different substance have a different capacity of burning. This is possible because of their calorific value. If a substance high calorific value, it means that it takes some time. Okay, so remember is that during extreme heat of a summer, at some places dry grasses catch fire from the grasses separate tree, and very soon the whole forest is on the fire. It's possible because during the summer the dry leaves of the forest can burn easily, and that leaves move from one place to another place, and they in the contact of some dry tree and many more, and this is where entire forest suffer with fire. I just give you an example. On that day, if you remember, Australia suffered from the heavy fire, and more than two-thirds of the animals of Australia die because of the fire. So that is one of the worst thing in the forest, that burning or fire can easily caught there. Do these experience tell you that different substance catch fire at different temperature? The lowest temperature at which substance catch fire is called ignition temperature. Ignition temperature. The word ignition means to catch the fire. Okay. Can you tell now why a matchstick doesn't catch fire? It's on at a room temperature. Why doesn't a matchstick start fire when we burn the matchbox? Because it the matter of temperature. A solely matchsticks cannot produce at temperature it's required for burning. But when we rub it with a substance like a red potash, which is the given there, so it can caught fire easily. Okay, so be careful, and remember that every substance has a different temperature of burning. The history of the matchbox is very old, more than 5,000 years. I got a small piece of pine wood dipped in a sulfur were used to the as matches as in Egypt. The modern safety match was developed only about the 100 years ago. A mixture of antimony trisulfate, potassium chlorate. This is a substance you can write down. Trisulfate, potassium chlorate, and white phosphorus with some glue and starch was applied. The head of match made so suitable wood. I repeat this component again. The matchbox contain trisulfate potassium chlorate and white phosphorus. Trisulfate potassium chlorate and white phosphorus. Some glue which can easily paste it on that paper box. So that became a matchbox. When struck against the rough surface, white phosphorus got ignited. Due to the heat of frictions, this started combustion of a match. However, white phosphorus proved to be dangerous both for the worker involved in the manufacturing of the matches and the users. These days, the head of the safety match contain only antimony trisulfate and potassium chlorate. The rubbing surface has powdered glass and a little red phosphorus, okay, which is much less dangerous. When the match is struck against the rubbing surface, some red phosphorus gets converted into white phosphorus. This immediately reacts with potassium chlorate in the matchstick head to produce enough heat to ignite antimony trisulfate and start the combustion. Let's see, children, this is very important part, that how the matchbox and matchsticks both works together to produce fire. First of all, these days the head of the matchbox for the safety purpose is not use the white phosphorus directly. They use what? Antimony trisulfate and potassium chlorate. The rubbing surface has powdered glass. Powdered glass means is a kind of the grinded glass, okay, which produce rough surface. When we rub it, so what happened? The red phosphorus converted into white phosphorus, and then immediately potassium chlorate and matchbox produce heat. Is it clear to all of you? That's very important nowadays. Because of the safety purpose, some changes happen in the matchbox to produce heat and light. Now, so that is a way how the matchbox works. Next, we find that a combustion substance cannot catch fire or burn as long as its temperature is lower than the ignition's temperatures. Have you ever seen the cooking oil catching fire when a frying pan is kept for a long time? Burning stoves, kerosene oil, and wood do not catch fire on their own at room temperature. This is happening because of as they reach their crucial or ignition temperature where they can caught easily, it means that they start burning. So don't put oil for a long time because it may cause dangerous fire, because oil burn automatically as it reach in its ignition temperature. Ignition temperature means a temperature in which any substance start burning. Different kind of the substance has a different ignition temperature. I also explained one term, calorific value, which is further in this chapter. So if I'm talking about petroleum ignition temperature is very low, that it can caught fire easily. If I'm talking about the wood has a high ignition temperature on comparatively petroleum, so it may cause some time to burn. So maybe remember, lowest ignition temperature means caught fire easily, higher temperature it means caught fire slowly. Okay, so different substance has a different ignition temperature. It will catch fire, but it wood is heated a little, it would still not catch fire. Doesn't mean, I already tell you, because of the difference between the ignition temperature of the different substance. Now, one activity is here, be careful handling the burning candle. Make two paper cups. By folding the sheet paper, pour about 50 ml of the water in one of the cups. Heat both of the cups separately. Okay, with the candle, what do you observe? Actually, if you put the paper on the water, it means that its ignition temperature increases, so it cannot caught fire easily. But the dry paper, which already piece of paper, so its ignition temperature is very low, it can fire easily. So that is a way, so you can do this activity, it's very easy. What happened to the empty paper cups? What happened to the paper cup with water? Empty cup easily burn, while the cup which contains the water it cannot. Now, children, I think that's still there. There is no doubt. Now I can explain you further. If we continue heating the cups, we can even boil the water in the paper cup. Can you think of an explanation for this phenomenon? Because this has happened because water as reach in its ignition temperature, it started boiling. While why paper cannot burn? Because of water. As you give fire to it, water as a cool substance, it protects the paper cup to reach its ignition temperature, and the heat is absorbed by water. So water started evaporated and cup cannot burn. Can you think of an explanation of this phenomenon? The heat supplied to the paper cup is transferred to the water. I already told you that is heat is absorbed by the water. It's called conduction. So, in the presence of water, the ignition temperature of the paper is not reached. It's water protect it to reach its ignition temperature. It doesn't burn. The substance which have very low ignition temperature, they are called inflammable substances because they can caught fire easily, while on other hand the substance that cannot burn easily, it means that their ignition temperature is very high. So those substance non-inflammable substance, so the substance that are inflammable, you can say LPG and petroleum, kerosene, these are the substance that can caught fire easily. Now how do we control the fire? We must have seen the hand had the breaking out homes when fire break in any building, shop, industry. So immediately people call to the fire workers, and fire brigade go there and they immediately just use all the equipments how to control the fire. So write us out descriptions. Children, this is your work. Have you ever seen and observed about how they control the fire? So please write down, please write down. This is your work, do it. Okay, and share your own experience regarding of fire brigade, how they control on a fire. Now find out the telephone and numbers of the fire service in your area. If a fire breaks in your neighbor house, school, unfortunately in some other places, so how you control? So please mention your ideas. And numbers two, how you control the fire by calling the fire brigades. A person, this is fireman, which can easily control the fire by using this way. And this is pure water. Now a question rise again, sir, you say that if a person burn, so we can put water on his body, while this person directly put water on the building. So why they put the water? Because let's see, actually water contained oxygen. That's earlier, you know, earlier it enhanced the capacity of fire. But after some time, if you continuously put the water on the building, so it control the fire easily. While in a body, if you put water, so it what happen? As the fire enhance, it means that it make more severe burning. Therefore we can't use water to any burning body or a person. Does your city town have a fire brigade station? Of course every city has. I think in Bota too I saw when the, I think it's a bus stand road where I saw there is a fire brigade station. So whenever fire brigades arrive, what does it do? It pours water on the fire for water cools and combustible materials so that its temperature brought to below to ignition temperatures. This prevent the fire from the separate spreading. Water vapors also surround the combustible materials, helping cutting off the supply of air. So the fire is extinguished. You have learned that there are three essential requirements for producing fire. Can you list these are the requirement? Yeah, sometimes people use like a other substance, sand and soil, many more to be control the fire. And many of the buildings, hospital and schools has a fire extinguisher cylinder which contains CO2 gas which can easily protect the buildings from the fire. Now you have learned these essential requirement for producing fire. Can you list it? They are the fuel, air, supply of oxygen and heat to reach temperature of any body. So fire can be controlled by removing these substances. How will they remove? By water, by putting the sand, soil. So these are the things that cut the supply of water. Is it clear to you? Sorry, a fire or oxygen, because oxygen support, oxygen support fire. Now you have read the sun produce, actually I already taught you about this substance, and now this is our next week. Yeah, that's very important. The most common fire extinguisher is water, but water works only when the things like a wood and paper are on the fire. If electrical equipment is on fire, electrical equipments like suppose that there is a meter, there is a wire, can't fire easily. So if you put water on that, what happened, it's huge short circuit. So control that kind of the electric fire, we use some other sources. That's why the cylinder is given. The water may conduct electricity and harm to those trying to dose the fire. Water is also not suitable for the fire involving oil and petrol pump. Do you recall the water is heavier than oil, so it is sink below the oil and oil keeps burning on top. For fire involving electrical equipments and inflammable materials like a petrol, carbon dioxide is best extinguisher is carbon dioxide or CO2. CO2 being heavier than the oxygen cover the fire like a blanket. Since the contact between the fuel and the oxygen is cut off, the fire is controlled. At CO2, we spread or the area where the fire caught. So CO2 react with oxygen and oxygen supply cut there. It means we control the fire on this way. The added advantage CO2 is that the most cases it doesn't harm electric equipments. How do we get the supply of carbon dioxide? It can be stored at high pressures as a liquid in cylinder. In what form of the LPG stored the cylinder? When released from the cylinder, carbon dioxide expand enormously in volume and cool down. So it's not a form of blanket around the fire. It also brings down the temperature of fuel. That's why is an excellent of extinguisher. Another way to get CO2 is to release the lot of dry powder of chemical like a sodium bicarbonate or potassium bicarbonate near the fire. These chemical give soft CO2. So children, be careful about this cylinder and try to search more information about this cylinder. And for the next work, today as a work for the fire brigades, and the next work whatever I have sent, this work is related to the fire cylinder, and I also give you an activity to draw the cylinder of that. So please focus on that. Is there any query, any question, any doubt, you may text me, comment me, call me. Okay, thank you so much for watching this video. Like it, share it.